You know, if Ruto worked with Moi, worked with Kibaki, worked with Uhuru, has worked with Raila Amolo Odinga, and still Kenyans are complaining because of his type of leadership. People are crying right, left, and center. Then you can't tell me that Rigathi Gachagua is a bad guy. You can't tell me that. And one thing that makes people call Rigathi Gachagua a tribal man, it's simply because of campaigning against, campaigning on one man, one vote, one shilling, talking about Mlima. There's no one who gets his community behind him without championing the interests of your community. Before Uhuru Kenyatta became the president of the Republic of Kenya, he first got the mountain to his side. Listen to his clips when he was in Mount Kenya. Why didn't you call him a tribalist? Let's go to Raila Amolo Odinga. He has the entire Luo community. Do you know how it started? Have you heard people from Luo Nyanza talk of pia sisi tumekuwa neglected, sasa pia sisi tuko kwa serikali, pia sisi sasa tatukule, pia nini lieni? Haven't you heard that? If you go to other regions like the Rift Valley, when we were campaigning for the new constitution, when William, of course I was young by that time, but when people were campaigning for the new constitution in the country, we had William Ruto entirely do his campaign within Rift Valley most of the time. 90% of his campaign was within the Rift Valley region. Have you gone back and listened to the language that he was talking about? Then you come here and call Rigathi Gachagua tribalist. If you call Rigathi Gachagua tribalist, it's not far from saying William Ruto is the best president. Because you guys want to say that William Ruto is not a tribalist. You can't tell me Rigathi Gachagua is a tribalist. When you see the appointment of William Ruto, 60%, or actually about 60 parastatals of the government are all led by a person from one community, for people from one community. When you look at the cabinet itself, it is skewed. When you look at everything that's happening in the country, it is tribal. Then you call Rigathi Gachagua, who is outside the government, and is tribal. That cannot work. We must be realistic. And in fact, Kenyans, we have to be realistic on this. Now, you want Gachagua to campaign against President William Ruto. Take Mlima out of William Ruto. Then when it comes to the presidency, you put him outside. On what basis? If you don't want Gachagua as the president, give us a leader. Bring if it's Matiang'i, bring if it's your leader from your community. I don't care which community it is. Let that leader come and take over the position of this government so that it can be an option. But you cannot keep him in a basket, Rigathi Gachagua to face William Ruto, and then you bring as your leader after Rigathi Gachagua has won the war. Who is this seated somewhere waiting for food to be cooked? Then you just come to the table to eat. It cannot work. And then the person who has cooked, looked for food, come and cooked it to stay aside as you guys eat first. It will never make any sense. So, if you don't want Rigathi Gachagua to be the president, give us an alternative. Give us your leader. And by there, as you speak like this, just pray the mountain does not subscribe to him. In that the mountain does not vote entirely behind him. If it listens to him, Rigathi Gachagua will be having about 7 million votes strong in 2027. And if he picks the right presidential aspirant, I mean the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua will be a president in this country whether you like it or not. And I'm not saying this because I am a Kikuyu. No, I am from the Gusii deep with Matiang'i and other people like Maraga. But they are jokers. When Rigathi Gachagua is fighting with Uhuru Kenyatta, with William Ruto, they are quiet. Nobody is criticizing the government. When abductions were occurring here, where all tribes were facing abductions, Rigathi Gachagua came out and even mentioned the name of that guy who was abducting people. So you can't come here and tell me that Rigathi Gachagua, after doing all this, we should forget about him. On what basis? On what basis? Then you come here in the comment section and tell me people are thinking this way. What thinking do you have when you clap for Rigathi Gachagua for calling William Ruto out? For driving the mountain out of the mountain? There's no one to be used in this country. Hakuna jamii inatenzea jamii nyingine. Fight for your chance. There's no jamii ya kutenzea jamii nyingine. Fight for your chance, bring others on board, and be an alternative. Matiang'i is in World Bank right now, waiting for Rigathi Gachagua to prepare for him for presidency? No. The Gusii community right now, we want a president. Yet we are not united here. We are not united. Onyonka is now going to William Ruto. Then you come and tell me we are fit for presidency. It will never work. It will never work. That is bullshit. We have to be honest about it. It will never work. Some people take the bullet for you. On what basis? On what basis? You can see the energy William Ruto had to put into Mount Kenya to go mobilize, take development projects, pump money there for him to go for one visit of 6 days. That's because of Rigathi Gachagua's efforts. Because he knows who is Rigathi Gachagua. Now you've been accepting William Ruto's slogan that Rigathi Gachagua is a tribalist. Yet we know very well who is tribal in this country. They started the corruption. Rigathi Gachagua gave him a very serious comeback that look at the mirror and tell me who is more corrupt. Who is corrupt here? So you cannot castigate Rigathi Gachagua. In fact, I have to say it here categorically that tribalism is not above corruption in this country. Corruption is what has killed us. What is wrong if we have a president who is a Kalenjin, but he performs for the entire country? What is wrong? There's no problem. We can have a president from any tribe, but he performs for the people of Kenya, and that is allowed. We can have a Gikuyu cabinet secretary who can come to Nyanza and launch a project here. We can have another Kalenjin president who knows that the entire country needs development. But we cannot say if William Ruto has exited politics, we cannot have a tribal. You cannot have a Kalenjin leader simply because Ruto has been there. Everyone has a role to play in the development of this country. If they produce a leader, we have no option other than standing behind that leader. So long as he's good and is able to work for us as a country. And then now you guys are telling me that we have Rigathi Gachagua fight President William Ruto head on, face him head on, and then when it comes to the now let's elect the president. No, put Rigathi Gachagua aside. On what basis? Acha efforts zake zimulipe. Nyinyi kama mnakaa kando, amtaki early campaigns, amtaki kuongea kwa TV, amtaki kusema ukweli, watu wenu wanalipa wanakula. Sasa unataka mwenye amejitolea kupigana na shida mwanza kusema ati ni tribe and he cannot lead this country. Who told you that Kibaki was not tribal? Who told you that? Who told you? Which tribe is this you wanted to lead? If Rigathi Gachagua he does not deserve, he's tribal. Which tribe do you want it to come and be the president in this country? And I always tell you guys that whether we like it or not, Mount Kenya is going to dictate the Kenyan politics because of their brains, because of the steps they have made ahead, because of their dedication for leadership, because of the way they are thinking right now. Go to Ruaka, go to Ruai, go to Ruiru, go to Kabete, go to Kikuyu, and see how roads are in that region because of the aggressiveness in politics. You who keep on thinking, no, Rigathi Gachagua is tribal, let's have another one to come. What is in your place? What is in your place? What kind of development do you have in your region? What kind of development do you have in your region? When people fronted Raila Amolo Odinga for president, it is because he had worked for it. People could see. When Raila, Mudavadi and Kalonzo came together in 2017, they saw Raila as the most popular because he has been working and facing William Ruto now under then. He was the one facing Uhuru Kenyatta. Press conferences saying Waiguru Nanani wameiba pesa NYS. Eurobond imeibwa. Stop borrowing. Raila does all that. And as a result, when it comes to CORD or even NASA selecting a presidential candidate, checking the efforts Raila had made, you could not exclude him from the presidency. He had to be the presidential candidate. It was very automatic. That's why Kalonzo stood aside. That's why Mudavadi stood aside and allowed Raila Amolo Odinga to proceed. Now you want Rigathi Gachagua to come on board and castigate President William Ruto, campaign against President William Ruto. And after campaigning against President William Ruto, you come and tell us that now Rigathi Gachagua should not vie for presidency. What? What for? Bring your leader that you feel is okay, let him castigate, let him criticize, because the Kenyan politics, there's no template. You do politics to be a political winner. You cannot do diplomacy and then come to Kenya for politics. On what basis? Let them come and compete with other leaders. Then we see where we are going. But you cannot see, tukiangalia interview, Rigathi Gachagua is speaking, 1 million people are watching. Kalonzo is speaking, 2,000 people are watching. Then you want to tell me that this is not the man to listen to? We have to be honest about our country. And this mentality we have, a Kikuyu cannot be president again, a Kalenjin cannot. Bullshit. Where were you when they were becoming presidents? Where were you when they were putting together and campaigning? Where were you? Who do you want akulete urais? Get to the ground. Sell yourselves. Go to Mount Kenya right now and see what is happening there. Irungu Kang'ata is working day and night. Ndindi Nyoro day and night. Leaders there are struggling to get development projects. Nyinyi hapa mnaendelea kupigana local. Simba Arati Osoro fighting every day, shooting each other, goons all over. No, and buying t-shirts for ODM. Have you seen UDA people buying t-shirts for UDA in the Mount Kenya region? Not even one. But Arati is busy buying the t-shirts for ODM now, as soon as today. Every year is giving umbrellas across. This year atapeana zingine kwa December, I'm sure. Then you tell me now we deserve presidents when we are doing stupid politics around.